Hello everyone, welcome to my online channel The Palm Leaf. This is video number 29 in the data analytics and visualization series. We are going to continue with the STRINGR function. I know we have got a few videos in this function. There are a lot of things to cover, right? So in today's video, what we are going to specifically look at is we're going to see how we can identify or calculate the length of a string, how we can pad values, how we can trim or truncate the values, right? So we're going to keep it very short. Before we begin, let's quickly look at the S3 dataset, which was this. This is what we had created last time in the previous video. So it's got the sentences column, followed by a few other columns which we had created based on the different functions that we had used earlier. Now what we are going to do is we are going to remove unnecessary columns. So we are going to use a negative sign that you see here just before the small c, and then we are going to remove columns between 4 and 8. So let's just quickly look at the columns that we are going to remove, right? So this is mx, this is my, onwards till the last column, which is column number 3, right? Column named 3. So we are going to just quickly remove them because we don't need it for this video. So we have run it and we have pushed it into a vector called as S4. Let me just quickly close all the previous data sets that we had created. So we have got an S3 and let's quickly run S4. So as you see, we have removed all the unnecessary columns from S3. We just have 3 columns. We've got the sentences column, the start and end columns. That's it, right? Now let's get into the first function, which is the str underscore length. Now it is a fairly simple function. It's like your length function in an Excel sheet where you just type in is equal to len and then the cell which has the string, right? So we are going to use str underscore length followed by just the string, and it will return the length of the string. So how do you use it in a data frame or an Excel sheet? You will just use you will call the data set name followed by a dollar sign and then the name of the column, and you will just mention str underscore length and you will add another column. So I'm just going to name this column as LG, right? And let's look at S4 now. So you see that a new column has popped up called as LG, and it has got the length of the sentences. So the first row has got 48 characters, row number 12 has got 35 characters, so on and so forth, right? So it's as simple as that. How can we do mix and match, right? So let's see what we can do with this. So let's say we are going to use the sub function, and if you remember from the previous video, this will actually give you a subset of the string, and the syntax is you will first mention the string, which is the sentences column, and followed by you will have to give a start column and followed by an end column, right? Now the problem is yeah, so the start column is here, which is column number 2, and you have got an end column also, right? So what we're trying to do is using the sub function, we are going to dynamically try and see if we can extract some values, right? So the moment you put start here, it's just going to take the characters from this position. Let's say in row number 54, 52, it will start from the 25th position, right? And it will go up to the length of the string, which means it will actually give you till the end of the string. So this line of code, and I'm going to pass it on to a new column called as A1. This line of code essentially helps me start at any point in the string, and it can give it till the till the last point, right? Let me quickly run it, and when we look at S4, you've got a new column A1. So what's happened here? Uh, in A1, you can actually see that it's returned to the dark blue background, right? And that is from position 16 to position 43, which is the end of the string, right? So you can see in most cases you will find an NA. That's because either the start is not there or I mean it's mostly because the start is not there. For any row with a start value, it's actually giving you from that start value till the end of the string, right? So I hope that was fairly okay, right? Now let's look at how you can pad white spaces or any for that matter any character onto a string, What's the syntax? It's again fairly simple. You start off with str underscore pad, you put in a string, and then you have got some arguments here. The first one is the width, which tells you how much width your padding should be, or the whole string should be. And then you can decide where your padding should be. Either it should be in the left or right or both, right? And what that pad has to be, right? Is should it be a space in this case? So it's a space in this case. You can put anything that you want, right? And it will return a string with those paddings. So let's quickly look at line number 117. I'll quickly run it. So what has happened here? So the word hello has been padded with hyphens, right? So the whole string is now of width is equal to 10, right? And since I have mentioned the padding has to be on both sides, it's kind of identified that the string length of hello is 5, and it has to pad 5 more characters. So it's padded 2 before and 3 after, because it's not an even number, and the pad that I've given is a hyphen, right? So it's fairly simple. Now, where do you use it? Let's say you've got um, unique identifiers which are numerals, and it can range from 0 to, let's say, 10,000 or 100,000 or 1 million. And for smaller numbers like 999, where your width is like 10, you want to pad zeros up front, right? So you can just mention that str underscore pad. So you can either give a value or a column name, and then say width is equal to 10, side is equal to left, and pad is equal to 0. Automatically pad, it will automatically pad zeros onto that string, right? So you can see here. So this is very useful when you have to have some either space paddings or zero paddings, or if you want to just display it in a different format. Um, before we close, let's just quickly look at the trim function. So let's say you've got some white spaces here, and some white spaces towards the end. All that you need to do is just mention the string, and then just mention the side that you want to trim, right? Let me just run 128. You can see that if I mention I have to trim the left side, it's just trimmed the left side. The white spaces on the right side is still there, right? So you can either use it you can use both if you want to trim both. Otherwise, you can just specify which side you want to trim. And the last function that we want to look at is the truncate function. So what is happening here, right? Let me just quickly run this. Um, so if you use str underscore trunk and you mention a string with a width, the final width will be the width of the string, and you can actually decide which side is it, and you can pass on an ellipsis. So what it does is it truncates the width of the string, and it replaces the content with that ellipsis, right? So here I have given a 4 hyphen string ellipsis, so it actually replaces the left side of the string with that ellipsis. So these were the few functions that we saw today. Where you can play around with your string lengths and replace string lengths. You can actually remove some paddings, add paddings, so on and so forth. I hope this was fairly okay. As usual, if there is any feedback, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.